Imagine yourself at the bottom of the ocean, isolated from the world, with a single oxygen tank keeping you alive. This was the terrifying reality Tim Ryan and his friend Andy Nelson faced on what was supposed to be a peaceful crayfishing trip around. They were at Coventry Reef in south of Perth in Australia. But instead of crayfish, horror awaited them beneath the waves. As Andy slipped into a narrow cave searching for crustaceans, Tim, left waiting outside, felt a sudden presence. His blood froze. A massive, dark shadow moved through the water. Facing him was a 13-foot monster, a great white shark. Both massive and merciless, the predator circled him, coming so close that Tim could have almost reached out to touch it. His heart pounded furiously. For 5 agonizing minutes that felt like an eternity, the shark circled him. Its black eyes sharp, calculating, taking in his every movement. Pure terror washed over him. Tim knew he mustn't make any sudden movements. One wrong move could seal his fate. Desperately, he focused on what he absolutely must not do to survive: stay calm, avoid any quick motion that could make him look like prey. But how could anyone stay calm while staring down one of the ocean's deadliest predators? Tim's oxygen supply was running dangerously low. Every breath brought him closer to the point of no return. Meanwhile, his friend Andy remained trapped in the cave, unaware of the threat lurking outside. Tim could only pray that Andy would emerge soon. Without him, Tim was utterly alone with death itself. Finally, after what felt like a lifetime, Andy surfaced. The shark, now faced with 2 possible targets, hesitated briefly, then swam off. But their nightmare was far from over. Low on oxygen and still needing to make it back to the boat, they faced one last horrifying challenge: the open water. As Tim and Andy began their ascent, fear gripped them. They knew that every second in open water could be their last. The great white might lurk just out of sight, ready to strike from behind in a deadly ambush. Their lungs burned as their oxygen dwindled. Yet they couldn't ascend too quickly without risking fatal decompression sickness. It's a race against time and terror. Each heartbeat thundered in their ears. What if the shark appeared from the depths, its jaws open, ready to attack? The cold water felt even colder as fear surged through them, every inch upwards tinged with dread. The boat seemed agonizingly far away, each stroke pulling them closer to safety, but never fast enough. They looked back constantly, expecting any moment to see that massive shadow closing in. The silent, icy threat of death followed them, and survival was not guaranteed until they reached the surface. Surviving situations like this requires nerves of steel and a strategy. Tim and Andy escaped hell that day, but for every diver who comes face to face with a great white, there's no guarantee they'll make it out alive.